The 2024 Dallas Major has come to an end, and through the duration of the weekend we saw some pretty interesting comps. From specialist comps to off-meta picks to this. I have made it my job to address them all. I'm Coach Cuffy, a tier 2 coach that specializes in player development as well as compositional strategy. And in today's video we're going to cover this crazy Raccoon comp on Circuit Royal. It starts off pretty normal. A core of Sig, Bap and Brig. Very good at sustaining, holding corners with very nice potential to bunker up, live and kill the time bank if needed. Widowmaker also makes sense here, after all it's one of her best maps in the entire game. But what's most shocking is this Pharah pick. Usually on this map teams that opt to choose Brig also opt to choose someone like Genji that allows them to play for closer ranges. Pharah does not allow to play for closer ranges. So why is this naked Pharah with no pocket on a typically double hit scan map a viable pick? Well, let me break it down. The most obvious synergy that Pharah has is with the Brig. Brig is able to heal the Pharah, which is honestly quite a positive start. For raw pocketing value, the Brig is going to be weaker than a Mercy. But think back to what I said about this core of Sig, Bap, Brig. Great at holding space, extremely difficult to push past. Now think about where Pharah excels. Dueling enemies that she can isolate or spamming highly populated areas. Two areas of gameplay that enemies are forced to play into if they're against this comp. If we actually look at Circuit Royal, there are some notable areas of the map that Pharah has great access to, but her biggest difficulty is probably this sightline right here. Pharah cannot contest this, but thankfully we have the Widow, the best sightline control character in the entire game. If our Pharah player stays disciplined, sticks to her corner or this L shape that we have right here, Widow can protect her from all potential threats. What's even better, if Pharah can be a threat and force the enemy Widow to look at her, the friendly Widow has a free shot on the enemy Widow. Trading a Pharah for a Widow allows the friendly Widow to continue controlling the map for the duration of the fight, making it even harder for the enemies to push through. Remember, the later in a fight, the less cooldowns, the less health, the more people that are naturally out of position, the easier it will be for this Widowmaker to get killed. So how exactly do we counter this comp then? In this series I'm going to start every counter template based around the standard meta, as it's probably what we will be running before we actually play into this strange comp. So on this map, we would probably have a Sigma and a Baptiste. We know that the enemy comp has great levels of long range poke value. Usually looking towards dive heroes makes the most sense when looking to counter poke. But heroes like Genji and Tracer are going to struggle in the close range bypassing this brawly core of Sig, Bap and Brig. So what are our win conditions? Well, bearing in mind that we are already running brawly heroes in Sig and Bap together as a duo, I personally think our best bet is to run something even brawlier. We're talking brawly enough to break through the enemy's bunker. Of course, we have a bunch of options, but Cass, along with providing good frontline pressure, is also hit scan, providing pressure to that enemy Pharah. Not only this, but having a hit scan like Cass can break things like Lamp extremely easily, which is always nice. Where we run into difficulty is that enemy Widowmaker. As we know, Widowmaker majorly outranges our Cass, right? So if our Cass wants to make an aggressive play, potentially punish the enemy Pharah, our Cass is going to die, essentially. So what characters can we play alongside our Cass to burn the enemy frontline as well as contest the enemy Widowmaker? Soj is the obvious meta pick, but is that really reliable in dealing with a Widowmaker though? Yes, she can break shields, yes, she can get charged from the Sigma, and yes, you can go for the pop shots. But having one shot potential every couple of seconds in comparison to one shot potential at all times, the matchup is kind of rough for her. Bearing in mind that the enemy Sigma will place the shield, we don't even know if our Sojourn is going to reliably get rails. So the next best hero for this, in my opinion, is Hanzo. Hanzo has a capability to absolutely destroy frontlines as well as get the occasional pick. It's already pretty heavily documented that Hanzo isn't in the greatest state currently, but that didn't stop him from being played even in the OWCS finals. Just picture this fight. Pharah looks to get value, Cass punishes the Pharah, Widow punishes our Cass, Hanzo peeks the Widow, and boom, we're still 1 kill up. And yes, I get that there are lots of assumptions being made in this fight, but here's where the final member of the team comes into play. Not only does the character Zenyatta fulfill the exact same role as Hanzo in destroying the front line and pressuring the snipers, he also possesses a brilliant defensive ult, which can not only counter Sigma's Flux but also the Barrage. Even recording, I can see it now. Cass poking the Pharah every time she's visible whenever she's not, just puts all the damage into the Sig. Hanzo breaking shields, Hanzo forcing out Sig. We'll be breaking shields earlier, we'll be depleting health earlier, forcing Sigma's hands earlier, breaking Brig's shield. The fact that they're not running the Lucio speed and they have a very long sightline, especially on first point, means that we pretty much get an easy cap. Our comp's ability to poke as well as brawl means that we can be very versatile with the distances in which we want to take the fights. And where the comp might become an issue, third point for example, we can just make one swap, the Zenyatta to a Lucio, and all of a sudden our team can set up on high ground. Lucio is always going to be a reliable pick, it doesn't matter what the comp is, and playing for setups instead of 50-50 fights is always going to be beneficial. With that being said, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a unique form of content, a different perspective even. If you did, I would massively appreciate if you guys subscribed, because I am finally finding a footing with this platform and I would really like to make this work. Last but not least, leave a comment on a comp or potentially challenge me. Come up with 5 different characters and I'll tell you how to counter it, okay?